I confronted my husband for hiding the fact that he has another child. I met my husband 6 years ago and we got married 2 years ago. We have 2 kids together, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Our relationship has been pretty amazing all these years, and I was never given reasons to question him ever. We even trust each other with our phones. It's not like we are searching each other's phones to see if somebody's cheating, but for example, if he's in another room and someone calls or texts him and his phone is next to me, he also check who it is and what the text says. So a few days ago, I was sitting on the couch, my husband was doing the dishes, and he got a text. He told me to check who it is, and it was a plain number with no contact name. The message said, "I want to introduce you to my boyfriend this week. I'm sure you'll love him. I love you and miss you and can't wait to see you." I didn't even know what to think. I had no idea who it was at first, and I thought they had the wrong number. I didn't pay much attention, and I told my husband it was an unknown number and probably a mistake. As I said, I had no reason not to trust him. A couple days passed, and as I was getting ready for work, another text comes and says, "So X and I will be waiting for you at Y restaurant on Saturday. Got a reservation at 7 p.m. in X name. See you then, love you." It was the same number. That's when I realized it's not an accident, so I confronted my husband about it. At first, he was insisting it's an accident, but after a lengthy argument we had, he ended up admitting that he got a second SIM card, which he always takes out when he's around me, and he forgot to take it out, and that's why he got these messages while I was present. The other thing I found out was that the person who was texting him was his 17-year-old daughter, who I was unaware of. Basically, at 16, he got a classmate of his pregnant, and they haven't spoken in years. He never knew if she indeed gave birth or gave up the baby for adoption. Nothing. He found out of his daughter's existence a bit before I gave birth to my 3-year-old. He hid it from me for all this time because he was afraid of my reaction and that I might not be as accepting. I confronted him about the fact that he hid it from me, and he said that after all, I had no business knowing, and how he handles the situation with his older daughter is none of my business after all. So I better quit the tantrums and suck it up. I feel so guilty that I fought with him over it because he was just trying to be a good dad and didn't want to risk losing his daughter again in case I was not accepting of the situation. Am I the asshole? Today, I fucked up by saying how kinky I am during a job interview. This literally happened about 6 hours ago. I've been searching for a new job for a while now. I'm very picky about jobs that I applied for, and I was so excited to have my application accepted. To set the scene, I'm 5'11" and do bodybuilding. I suffer from anxiety and get especially nervous during meetings. Usually I cover it up with humor, but often my face gets very flushed. I was escorted into a small room where the 2 women who were going to be interviewing me were sat. We got off to a good start, and I was breezing through the interview and cracking occasional jokes with the interviewers. About 10 to 15 minutes into the interview, they asked me the typical question, "What traits do you value about yourself?" My typical response to this question is that I'm proud of how disciplined I am and consider it to be one of the most important traits a person can have. It's a generic response, but usually seems to be satisfactory. Anyway, this is how the exchange went. Interviewer: "What do you consider your most important and valuable trait?" Me: "I consider myself to be a very disciplined person and believe it's my most valuable trait." After a short pause and them staring at me blankly, I added, while also smiling at them slightly, "I love being disciplined." As soon as the words left my mouth, my anxiety peaked and I got the most flustered I've ever been. I went bright red, and after a few seconds of silence, I added, "Not in that way though," nervously laughed. Blank stares. I could feel the heat shooting in my ears, and exhaled sharply, got serious, and continued on as if nothing happened. The rest of my interview went well, I think, but holy shit, it's the funniest, cringiest, and most embarrassing thing that I think has ever happened to me. I don't think I'll get the job. Is it wrong that I force my son to eat off of dirty dishes? I'm 45 female. I love my oldest son, but he's 17 and acts like it. Our family rotates chores. Cooking, dishes, cleaning common areas are all done by each family member on different days. My son hates chores and always tries to half-ass it to get out of doing it. It's been a constant battle. Dishes are the worst. He overpacks the dishwasher so the dish detergent can't even get on the dishes. It just catches on whatever pan he shoved in front. He also doesn't rinse the dishes at all, so they come out dirty and caked in food. If we want to eat the day after he does dishes, we end up having to hand wash them. He doesn't care. Any attempt to talk to him is met with a little smirk, and he would say, "The dishwasher sanitized it." He knows exactly what he's doing. The day after his night to do dishes, I went to cook dinner. All the dishes were in the washer still, filthy. I had worked all day, I was exhausted. I honestly teared up seeing this bullshit. I didn't have the energy to make dinner, let alone do an entire load of dishes first. I quietly called my husband in, and he offered to hand wash the dishes I needed. Light bulb moment. I told him yes, please, but only enough dishes for preparing the food and serving everyone but the 17-year-old. I made dinner and called the kiddos to eat. The 17-year-old sat down and saw his setting was empty. He asked where his plate and silverware and water cup was. I pointed to the dishwasher and said, "Tonight you'll be eating off the dishes you did. Go pick them out." He went pale and started protesting that it was gross. I quickly cut him off and reminded him that the dishwasher sanitized them. Husband backed me up. If he wanted to eat tonight, he will eat off his dishes. He huffed and he said he'd wash some, and I said nope, you had your chance to get them clean last night. Eat off them as they are or don't eat tonight. He yelled and said that he'd make his own food, which I said no. Eventually, he relented and found the least disgusting dishes and ate his dinner quietly. I felt bad. He looked so sick and grossed out. But I was sick of him wasting time and water and detergent, and it worked. His dishes came out spotless after, not a speck. But like I said, he's still furious and I do feel bad now that it's over and done with. I think my wife cheated on me, but I have no proof. We're married less than a year, both in our mid-20s. She has concert tickets for Christmas. Naturally, I assume I'm going with her. Nope, she wants to take someone from work because he is supposedly a huge fan of the band. She also tells me he's gay. I'm upset, but I decide to not start a fight about it. She goes to the concert and they wait outside near the band bus after the show is over. The bassist from the band starts to talk to her and she flirts with him. He asks if she is going to their New Year's Eve show 200 miles away. She says no because she can't afford it. He said he'll comp her tickets if she comes. She said she won't go alone. He says she can bring a friend. Now our New Year's Eve plans are ruined because there's no way I can go too. She had joked before about having to sleep with the bassist for these tickets and VIP access. I did not find it funny, so she played it off. In the end, this is her favorite band, and I don't want her holding this over my head for the rest of our lives. So I let her make the decision herself. She decides to go with her friend from work, who she now says she's only 80% sure he's gay. She texts me on the long drive there, then when she gets the tickets, then nothing. I text her at midnight, she gives me a 3-word response. I don't hear from her again. I call her at 11:30 the next morning, and she says she is waiting at the subway station to go back to her hotel. She eventually gets home around 4:30 p.m. I ask her how it went. She says they partied all night, she took prescription drugs, and drank a lot. She said she was pissed she paid for a hotel when she only slept in it for 2 hours. I asked her how that was possible when she said she was at the subway at 11:30 a.m. She admits that she didn't use the hotel room at all, and that she must have slept in the band suite. What? She blames her amnesia on a hangover. Fast forward a day or so, she gets out of the shower. I notice she shaved her pubes. I asked her when she did it, and she says Friday. Here's the thing, my wife never shaves. When she does, it's a present for me. She left for work and I found a package of Summer Eve's feminine wipes in her overnight bag. Here's the other thing, I've always secretly thought she had an odor problem, but she's certainly never done anything about it for me. This was a brand new pack. Why did she have them? So, what do you think? Is she cheating with the bassist or the guy from work? Should I confront her about it? Am I the asshole for not letting my best friend have her wedding on my property after being uninvited? One of my 29 male best friends, Carla, 31 female, is getting married soon. It's only meant to be a small backyard type of wedding, but they've been planning it for a few months now, and originally it was supposed to be on my property. They wanted it because it's private, has lots of open space for the reception, a nice view, and the house could be used for them to get ready and stuff. Of course, I said yes. She and her fiancé Rick were very happy. Thing is, Carla and I do have a history. We went out on and off in college, but decided to stay friends. Then I met my wife, we got married, Carla met Rick, and now here they are. Now my wife knows I went out with Carla back in college, and she didn't care. Carla still went to her wedding and everything. I never knew if Rick was told or not. It's not my relationship, therefore not my business to say anything, so I never did. Rick found out recently and not in the best way. Not sure how, but from what I've heard from friends is that one mutual friend told him, no idea why, that we used to date. Not only that, but apparently Carla said a couple years ago she was still in love with me when she was already dating Rick. Don't have actual confirmation if that's exactly what he was told. All Carla told me is that Rick was told about our past and he's angry at her for never saying anything. It became quite a drama and didn't hear from her for over a month until now. She told me they're going to couples counseling and that the wedding is still on, but Rick requested that I do not attend. It sucks, but I totally get why he wouldn't be comfortable. Then I asked the obvious question, where are they going to hold the wedding then? To my surprise, she still said that they want it at our place. Rick said so too, and in my mind, I'm going he doesn't want the guy who dated his fiancée years ago at the wedding, but still wants the wedding at his house. My wife and I are expected to just not be at our home that weekend, and I told Carla no. They're going to have to find someplace else since we're not going to simply leave our home to them for the weekend.
Not only for safety reasons, but it just doesn't make sense. Rick doesn't want me around because he's not comfortable, but is comfortable enough to have their wedding at my house. They really want their wedding here though, and because of that, I've been bugged by not only her, but also Rick and some friends who think I'm being a petty asshole for not letting them have the wedding here anymore. Honestly, don't think I am. It just doesn't make sense at all to have to leave our own place for a wedding we're no longer welcome to, and leaving our home totally vulnerable. Still being accused of sabotaging their wedding, and Rick believes that is the least I can do after everything. Am I the ass?